Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, how about a round of applause for our pep band there? For most of you, welcome back to Memphis University School. My name is Thad McCracken, and I have the honor and privilege of following Coach Alston in one of his many hats. I have been the athletic director here since April 1st. My family and I are new to both Memphis and to MUS, so if I have not already met you, I look forward to doing so later this evening or in the near future. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today, to celebrate the generosity of the Stokes family, and to honor the storied career of Coach Bobby Alston by adding his family name to the face of our stadium. In 1955, Hull Dobbs, yes, please. In 1955, Hull Dobbs Field was completed, followed by the addition of an all-weather track in 1964. Over the years, there have been numerous improvements and upgrades to the facility as the needs of our sports community have grown. A permanent press box, concession stands on both home and visitor gates, guest suites, and turf, just to name a few. With each project, the focus was always twofold: to make the playing and practice experience of our MUS student athletes the best it could be, and to make the fan experience one of a kind. It has been the home to an Olympian, served as a training site for college prospects, and also a workout facility for professional athletes. Much like the halls of our school, it has hosted those who strive for excellence for nearly 7 decades. However, none of the upgrades compare to the one standing in front of you now. In the early 2000s, when a steering committee made up of alumni, parents, and school personnel tackled the project of addressing the structural design and financial needs of a new multi-sport venue for the Owls in East Memphis. Ground broke in January of 2006, and as the project moved along, excitement and anticipation for an enlarged field and a new facade to welcome new fans grew. As honorary co-chairs of the project and the lead patrons, Ann and John Stokes, along with Carol and Jack Stokes, class of 1979, graciously allowed for the stadium to bear their name with the stipulation that it would one day honor Coach Bobby Alston, as they greatly appreciated the impact Coach had on their family and wanted to honor him on our campus. Even though naming rights were not granted to current employees, it was established that upon his retirement, the stadium would be renamed. Although there are no structural changes to notice today, this unveiling of the new stadium name, Stokes-Alston Stadium, marks the celebration of a legend. Coach Bobby Alston served MUS for nearly a half-century through his dedication and leadership to our school. We will always recognize him for all he has done for athletics at MUS, but more specifically, we recognize him tonight for what he meant to 2 generations of the Stokes family. While originally built for football, Stokes-Alston Stadium now also hosts teams in lacrosse, soccer, and track and field. It facilitates physical education classes, fields the occasional alumni soccer match, and is the site for a variety of other student activities. Coincidentally, the first game played in the new stadium was an MUS football win led by Coach Alston against Montgomery Bell Academy, who we host yet again tonight. Let's go Owls. Now, I'd like to introduce to you our headmaster, Mr. Pete Sanders. In his 8th year at MUS, Pete masterfully balances the role of headmaster and instructor. He has implemented his vision of new opportunities for faculty growth and development while teaching a freshman history course, among numerous other things. He has over 40 years of experience in the independent school world and has used this insight and leadership to honor the tradition and potential of MUS in our own community. Please welcome Pete.
Thank you, Thad. On behalf of our faculty and staff, I'd like to thank you for joining us today to show our appreciation to the Stokes family, honor Bobby Alston, and cheer on the Owls afterward. As Thad mentioned, I'm Pete Sanders, MUS headmaster, and a big fan of the Owls. It goes without saying that we would not be here today without the initial generosity of the Stokes family. In the fall of 2006, we celebrated the opening of the Memphis University School multi-sports complex surrounding Hull Dobbs Athletic Field. Ann and John Stokes and Carol and Jack Stokes, 79, made possible the improvements to the facility, and that would be named Stokes Stadium in 2009 following the graduation of their sons, John Stokes, 2007, and Will in 2009. And it was always their intention to honor, upon his retirement, the man who has significantly impacted 2 generations of athletes and their family. Today, after Coach Alston's 47 years of dedication to the MUS Owls in a variety of roles, we honor Bobby and say thank you to the Stokes family for having the vision to recognize such a special person in the MUS community. Thank you, Stokes family. To begin to take a look back at Bobby's impact on the Owls program, I'd like to share with you a thought about him from one of our previous board chairs, Ben Adams, class of 1974. He wrote to Bobby these words: "I'm so proud of the way that you always kept the first things first. Your emphasis on developing boys into men with strong values of teamwork, discipline, humility, and commitment are what made you a great champion. Thanks for everything you've done to make our Owls wiser and finer." I'd like to echo Thad's welcome to campus and thank you for being here to show your loyalty to our school and to show your support of these 2 pillars of the Owls community. We'd like to thank Bobby's family and special guests for being here: his wife Sally, son Drew, class of 2007, Drew's wife Michelle, and children Landon and Emma, and daughter Meredith Wooten and her family, husband William Allen, and children Hudson, class of 2029, and Willa. We also extend our extreme gratitude to the Stokes family and what they mean to MUS athletics. Bobby's storied career goes well beyond the gates of 6191 Park Avenue, but it's rooted in the tradition and character of a legendary athletic program that he advanced. As part of this tribute to him, we will take a look at his time at MUS and all that he has accomplished. In 1977, which is a year after I graduated from high school, Bobby joined the MUS faculty to direct the physical education program, coach lower school football and basketball, and teach 7th grade math. I understand he was a very good math teacher. After establishing himself in the lower school, he would join Coach Rudolph's varsity staff in 1980 as defensive coordinator, switching to offensive coordinator 3 years later. Proving to be a man for all seasons, in 1982, he was named head track coach and led his teams to 5 state championships in 1994, 95, 97, 2009, and 2014, and 4 runner-up finishes, 1991, 92, 93, and 2007. His teams won relay championships in 1993 and 94. Over his career, Coach Alston has coached individual state champions in 18 of the 19 contest events in track and field. I should also note that he's the one for whom Harrison Williams owes his decathlete career. He's the one who got him started, the top-rated decathlon competitor at the Paris Olympics just last month. In 1991, he was selected as state coach of the year by the Tennessee and National Athletic Coaches Association. In addition to his athletic responsibility, he took on the role of Dean of Students, overseeing discipline from 1994 to 1999 for the upper school. In 1997, he was named athletic director, promoting the development of an outstanding sports program at all levels, while providing management and support for the coaches and staff of our 14 athletic interscholastic sports. He also provided oversight for additions and improvements to the stadium, indoor tennis facility, fencing center, cross-country course, soccer field, lacrosse field, and baseball field. All of these facilities lend to the strong culture of competition and sportsmanship of our students, and Bobby's oversight of their building is really something to applaud. In the fall of 1998, Alston led the Owls onto the field as head football coach for the first time, earning a regular season record of 6-4 and finishing with a big win over his school up on Walnut Grove, the Brothers. His teams would go on to compile a record of 213-90, including 4 state championships in 2004, 2005, 2008, and 2009, and 4 runner-up finishes in 2012, 2013, 2018, and 2020. In addition to his coaching duties from 2000 to 2006, Bobby served as a liaison with the general contractor during campus reconstruction and served on the steering committee for the new stadium project. The last decade of his MUS career was filled with recognitions and accolades. In 2014, he was named State and South Sectional Coach of the Year for track by the National Federation of State High School Associations. 2018, he was inducted into the Tennessee Coaches Association Hall of Fame and the TSSAA Hall of Fame in 2020. In the fall of 2022, he achieved the 200-win mark as head coach of the Owls football team. Bobby, on behalf of legions of alumni you have coached, the decades of students you have touched and mentored, the numerous parents you've counseled, and the countless coworkers you've encouraged, we thank you for the mark you've left on this great school, Memphis University School. And I echo former board chair Ben Adams' sentiment that you spent your career making our Owls wiser and finer. As I was quoted earlier this year about Bobby, in a school of great teachers, he was one of the best. And he saw the football field as a venue for imparting values that go beyond and stay with his players, or with his players now. Great job. You gave our students the tools to compete, improve, and represent our school with honor. Over the years, you skillfully found teachable moments in losses and imparted humility in victories. For nearly 5 decades, in a variety of settings, you brought to life the words of the MUS fight song penned by Bill Hatchett and Charles Mosby. Whether we lose or win, a greater team you'll never see. Bobby, no one is due this recognition more than you. And it is with great honor that we'll now unveil Stokes-Alston Stadium. Here we go.
Boy, that looks good, doesn't it? One more round. Come on. Thank you, Pete. I'm sure that each and every one of you here today has a special memory about Coach Alston, whether it be as a player under his tutelage, a fellow coach, maybe you had him in class, maybe you're a family member, maybe you're a close friend. This certainly applies to those who have helped make this celebration possible, as 3 generations of the John Stokes family have been directly impacted by him in their roles as parents, students, and now alumni. Many of them are here with us today, and it is my honor to call up Jack Stokes, class of 1979, to share the family's remarks. Jack was a student athlete who participated in tennis, wrestled, and played 4 years of high school football, serving as team captain his senior year. Jack and his wife Carol have 2 sons who attended MUS, John, class of 2007, and Will, class of 2009, as well as a daughter, Cameron. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Jack Stokes.
Thank y'all. As introduced, I'm Jack, and I'd like to introduce some other of my family that's here. My 2 sisters, Elizabeth Brand is here, and my sister Mim Brown is here along with her husband Buck. My son Will and Greer are here. Their children are here with them, or somewhere here with him. My wife Carol is here, and my mother Ann Stokes is here. Carol and I have 9 grandchildren, some of which are here. I'll save time and not introduce them as well. But we love every one of them and are proud of them. My son John, my oldest son, is not here. He's in Nashville, married and 4 kids there, 2 boys, and I hope they don't go to MBA. But anyway, the person that's not here tonight is my father, John Stokes Jr. Daddy went home to be with the Lord this March. He was 87 years old. I wish he were here. It was late in the year of 2004, almost 20 years ago. MUS had just won its first state football championship since 1985. It was Coach Alston's first as a head coach. And my oldest son, John, played on that team. We beat Brentwood in Vanderbilt Stadium in Nashville 35-14. After that season was over, at the end of 2004, Ellis Hagewood and Tro Gillespie called on my mother and father and Carol and I and asked us to participate in raising money for this new multi-sports complex. Their timing for that ask couldn't have been much better. My father loved the game of football. He started taking me to watch the Owls here when I was in elementary school, back in the 60s. Later, when my parents sent me here in 1973 as a 7th grader, my father and I would walk back and forth across those old bleachers, cheering for the Owls together. I have great memories watching games here with him. I always dreamed of playing for MUS and making him proud watching me play. I got to play my first varsity game here in 1976. I was a sophomore and we played Briarcrest. My girlfriend went there. Next to Mom and Daddy, she was my biggest fan and still is today. We beat Briarcrest 21-6 in the pouring down rain. The 3 of them, Mama, Daddy, and Carol, were all there to the bitter end, soaked to the skin. The next game we played was CBHS, and we beat them 7-6. They were all proud of me, all 3 of my fans. There are very few things in life that my father liked better than watching his son or his grandsons play football. And there were a whole lot of football games that we played in over the years here. I don't think he ever missed one of those games. He would pace back and forth in those stands from end zone to end zone, staying right on the scrimmage line and cheering and whistling at the top of his lungs. You see, he couldn't sit in the stands and sit behind anybody because he cheered and whistled so loud, he would blow your eardrums out if you were in front of him. So he had to get up and move around. Another reason Daddy loved the team sports, and especially football, was that he really believed it had the ability to develop boys' character, and even more than that, shape a young man's soul. I believe that too. And I know it to be true in my own life. If the proverb is true, and it is, that iron sharpens iron, and there's a whole lot of metal shavings left out on that field, and a whole lot of soul shaping that's gone on out there over the years. My sophomore year went pretty well. We went 6-4, but the next year I was injured in the first game and out for the entire season. That team went 11-1 and lost to Milan in the state semifinals. It was the best team I ever had a chance to play on. I watched them from the sidelines that whole season. I was able to play my senior year and was made one of the captains of the team. But there were more obstacles for me and our team than we could overcome that season, and we ended up 3-6. I was so ashamed of myself, and I knew I had disappointed my team, my family, and my friends. And during all that, I'll never forget hearing so many people blame coaches, blame players, a lot of negative talk. And all that talk just created more obstacles. But my parents, despite their disappointments, hung in there with me. They encouraged me through those hard times. So did my girlfriend. Something else that my father liked almost as much as watching his boys play football was investing. And he was a good investor. I was a partner with him at Morgan Keegan for over 30 years. We worked together, helping our clients invest their money in ideas that we thought would bring them a good return. He taught me a lot of things over the years, but the value of investing for the long term was one of the most important. He was always looking for the next Federal Express or Apple to buy for our clients. Apple went public in 1980 at $22 a share. And if you had invested $1,000 in Apple in 1980 and held it to today, it'd be worth almost $8 million. Those are the types of returns you can get if you invest for the long term. But you run into obstacles when you're investing too. You may have heard of Black Monday or the flash crash, the dot-com bubble, 9/11, or the great financial crisis. Most of y'all are too young to remember Black Monday. That was on October 19th, 1987. On that day, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and that was early in my career at Morgan Keegan, but on that day, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell almost 23% in one day. In one day, almost a quarter of our customers' money and our money that we had invested in stocks was gone, all in one day. It was so bad, I was literally sick at my stomach. And I'll never forget my father telling me, Jackie boy, when this market gets so bad that it makes you sick at your stomach and you think you're going to go throw up, make sure you do it on a buy ticket. Daddy was always optimistic, always bullish. In fact, he even had a bull tattooed on his hip, and that was long before tattoos were popular. And while he was good at investing in companies, I think he was much better at investing in people. He helped build Morgan Keegan by hiring most of his sales force. He invested his company's future in them. But he didn't just invest in salesmen and businessmen and bankers at Morgan Keegan. He invested in all kinds of people: boat captains, furniture craftsmen, farmers, interior decorators, pro baseball players, college basketball coaches, and all sorts of people he met. I have no doubt that if he were here today, he'd tell you that the greatest investments he ever made were in the people that he had a chance to help. No doubt. So in concluding all this, what were the reasons that he and my mother and Carol and I wanted to invest in this multi-sports complex? He loved football. We all did. And we knew of the way God used it to shape his life and mine and the lives of his grandsons. And he wanted to be able to invest in the men that had been so influential in our lives here. Amazingly enough, many teachers and coaches that I had when I was a student here in the 70s were still here in 2004. Some are still here today. I know I'll miss some of their names, but men like Norman Thompson, Barry Ray, Bill Taylor, and Ellis Haygood. All of them investing in us in the classroom and in athletics. And while these and others put so much into me and my sons, none have invested more in us than Coach Alston. Coach Alston came to MUS in 1977, 1 year after I got my first start as a varsity football player for the Owls. And he's been investing in young men like my sons and your sons for over 47 years. Investing in them as teacher and coach, but also by getting others to invest along with him. Managing his coaching staff over all those years. And getting men to volunteer their time to coach in the lower school. Good men. Men like Jim Burnett, Bobby Wade, Craig Christianberry, Rankin Foltz, Scott Rose, and many others I can't name. Coach Alston did all this for all these years, keeping MUS and the team first. It was always about the team, never about himself. 47 years, almost half a century, 47 years of his stamp steadily pressing down on the wax of our boys. That's long-term investing. And through all those years, he had a lot of obstacles to overcome. I know about a lot of them. A lot of them that parents like me put in his way, thinking that we knew better than he did. What a mistake that was. Coach Alston has invested so much more in this place than my family ever did. And he helped shape the souls of thousands of young men here at MUS. Coach, the Stokes are proud to have our name alongside yours. Thank you for giving so much of yourself to so many of us. Thank you.
Well, I was kind of hoping it'd start lightning and we could just go home. But I think I'm supposed to say something here, so let me pull it up. It was kind of a strange day in 1977. I was introduced to MUS and the mystique of what I called the U. I went to meet Colonel Lynn. Even back in those days, those of us who wanted to be coaches out of college had agents. And my agent was a man named Gaddis Self, and he suggested and set up a meeting with Colonel Lynn. And to me, it was always kind of like, well, that's my burning bush moment. Sitting in his office, scared to death, just like most of the students that knew him. And he decided I deserved a chance to be a part of this group. Never will forget that. The Stokes family, I am tremendously honored that you wish my name to stand beside yours up on this great stadium. Your financial generosity almost 20 years ago allowed us to build what I think is the most beautiful high school stadium in America. Last week I got to watch a game in a different venue from where I normally have been. And I still think it's the best high school stadium 20 years later, despite what other people have done trying to catch up with us. Some of that's due to Met. I think I saw Met here earlier, the people that built it, but it was basically the generosity of the Stokes family that helped us do this. Today, your generosity of spirit has, wants to put my name beside yours. I am so honored, Ms. Stokes, Carol, Jack, Will. Jack was talked about John not being here, but he didn't tell you that John's not here because he's saving somebody's life. That's a little bit more important than this. But I appreciate so much their family, Cameron, Trevor. Trevor is responsible for the I Believe slogan back here at MUS. And I want to thank all my family that's here. My mom is here, and she's the only person here who actually believes all the nice things people said about us. But mom, my sisters, some of my sisters are here. Like Jack, my dad passed away a few years ago. He was my biggest fan. And I kind of sat up here this morning, thought about what's going to be happening today, and I kind of think, Jack, that he and your dad are up there looking down on us right now, and they're kind of anxious for us to get finished so that we can go in and watch the game. And I suspect they'll have a few critical remarks about the officials, but at least my dad will specifically. My children, Meredith and Drew, grew up on this campus, running around this campus. So proud of what they've become. My grandchildren, Hudson and Emma and Landon and Willa and Charlotte, Maddie, they're not here, and we got another one coming, Matthias. Just so proud of all of them, what they've done. But they couldn't have done what they've done without the youth. And my biggest teammate, my biggest fan, Miss Sally. I don't know how I tricked you into not sure how I tricked her into this journey that we've been on, but she sacrificed so much of things that she would have liked to have done or wanted to do, allowing me to pursue my passion for coaching boys. I'm just glad at this stage of the game I get to kind of come back, put my boots on and get my shovel and shovel horse manure for her as her chief stable boy, and I'm glad she's still hiring me. I've had a lot of good people that made all this possible. It's not about me, it's about the you. Worked for some great men, Colonel Lynn, Mr. Thorne. Ellis gave me a chance to be the head coach when Jake retired. And stuck with me when I was kind of the head football coach and the athletic director, and I probably should have fired myself about 3 times. And Ellis stood beside me, and then Mr. Sanders came in and kept it going. So I've had great bosses. I've had great coaches and staff members working with me that made all this possible. I've had the privilege of working my entire career with my best friend, Barry Ray, whose advice and counsel and wisdom I've always treasured. Just so many people who put this thing together. It's not about me. I was surrounded by excellence. It's a you thing. But let's be honest, we're talking about coaches. And coaches don't get to stick around as long as I got to stick around, or don't get honors, that kind of thing, unless you win games. And coaches don't win games, players win games. And I've been blessed to have some great players. All the boys that come to MUS are exceptionally talented, top 2 or 3% talent-wise. They don't get to come to school here unless they're that way. Now, most of that talent's in their head, occasionally some of it's in other parts, but they all got big hearts and they got great brains. And God blessed us with enough guys who had the other kind of talent when we needed it to help us overcome some adversity. It was teamwork. Coach Rudolph preached it. I was mentored by him and Coach Peters on how to do all this stuff here at MUS, what's different here doing things. It's a you thing. In the beginning and in the end, though, all of this is due to the grace of God's providence in my life. He's walked alongside of me, helping me overcome so many times a myriad of mistakes that I've made, and giving me hope for a better day. Thanks be to God. No better way to end this. We've heard it played. Mr. Sanders mentioned the line of it, but I'm just going to wrap it up with this. Go big team down the field. Honor bring to the red and blue. Our team will never yield. Our men forever will be true. Whether we lose or win, a greater team you'll never see. We'll show our might again for Memphis University. Ready to fight again for MUS and victory. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach, for everything you have done for this MUS community. To include a tangible memory of this occasion, I'd like to invite an alumnus, Met Crump, class of 1960, who, as Coach said, was the architect behind Stokes-Alston Stadium. He has a presentation to make.
Congratulations, Coach Alston. Please accept this gift of original art, which was used to print the invitation to this ceremony, which went out in the mail. Bobby?
Thank you, Matt.
It won't take long to unwrap because I wrapped it myself. My special memories, Bobby, are your planning buildings at NES, which my firm and I have had the privilege to design, starting with in 1988 with the Sue Hyde building and including the stadium in '04. I hope that your contributions to MUS are as monumental as this stadium which bears your name. And I hope that you and Sally will enjoy this artwork and that it will remind you of this special occasion in your honor today.
Thank you, Met. To close out our ceremony this evening, Coach Sanders will lead our MUS cheerleaders with 15 snappy rahs. Afterward, you're all invited to join us inside the stadium for a tailgate event. Thank you so much for being here for this special evening, recognizing two very important MUS families. Coach Sanders, take it away.
All right, y'all know how to do it.